They call me. That's why I told the house authority, listen, I'm gonna get you, but I told the house authority. I said, shit, go and take that lick and trade property with the city and get a quick lick. And go and ask them for the big property over by the fire station on third, right there on third, and then clean. I said, go and ask them, tell them all of that there. Because by the time they get ready to do what's on that corridor, I said, y'all probably be worth what y'all asking about. The company's been on tank high. So you shall have 12 acres over here that y'all can do right now. So see, I'm telling you, that's it, baby girl. One of them. If they offer you an opportunity to pay you, go with you. I support you. But don't open, remember my lesson. Don't commit too much. Because what they want ain't gonna happen.
The metaverse. So much going on. But let me tell you about it. I worry about your spirit when you take pictures with money. I mean, they're dead presidents whose cabinets never have any canned goods. That would mean it's all good in the hood, and we all know it's really not. But the block is hot, and the pot just got legal, proving that the grass is greener on the other side. Ride for the homies when money is the motive, but the funds getting lower and the trees getting higher, more potent with fire. You hire liars to tell you the truth, but listen to your lawyer. He knows what's best for you. He got an inside track on how to get it back. The cars, the clothes, the hoes, who knows? You might hit a lick. Stack enough bread to get off your dick. Head in the wrong place, you chase, they race. Keep up the pace. Fast life. Ain't no time for thinking. Pussy on your mind, that's why you sinking. Couldn't figure out really what she was thinking. Money over bitches, but it's bitches over money, cause the bitches got money now. So what's your value?
I got 5 on it. I got 5 on it. I got 5 hoes, 2 times 5 toes down. All the realest niggas know now. Ain't no more money, that shit in the hearse. Tales from the crypto, we in the metaverse now. We in the metaverse now. Oh, yeah, I got y'all coin wallets and ledgers and bots and thoughts and plots. That's how all this started. Be kind to a bitch, then be cold-hearted. Think you in control, then God gets started. Think God ain't in you, dearly departed. Your ass gone, dog. You gone. Dearly departed.
I got 5 on pump 5 before I got here. Hard times mean it's time to get it from the muscle, hustle, ready. We started a revolution, and now it's time for the evolution. Gather all your family and tell them to meet you at grandma's house in that small town down them dirt roads where the Wi-Fi speeds slow down, chop and screw like the music we listen to. 227 Mary Jenkins spreading the news, wisdom in her shoes. Take time to listen to the elders. History is remembered by those who write their own story. So what's your story? Tell me your story. Let me shout out them small towns. Arcadia, Hull, Nocatee, Zalfo Springs, Sebring, Avon Park, Ocala. I mean, Fort Meade, Brooksville, Spring Hill, Port Charlotte, I mean, South Bay. I'm a small town girl. Get them small town sunshine. That's where the party be at, where them juke joints. It's that vibe. The metaverse. The metaverse. So much going on. But let me tell you about it. I worry about your spirit when you take pictures with money. I mean, they're dead presidents whose cabinets never have any canned goods. That would mean it's all good in the hood, and we all know it's really not. But the block is hot, and the pot just got legal, proving that the grass is greener on the other side. Ride for the homies when money is the motive, but the funds getting lower and the trees getting higher, more potent with fire. You hire liars to tell you the truth, but listen to your lawyer. He knows what's best for you. He got an inside track on how to get it back. The cars, the clothes, the hoes, who knows? You might hit a lick. Stack enough bread to get off your dick. Head in the wrong place. You chase, they race. Keep up the pace. Fast life. Ain't no time for thinking. Pussy on your mind, that's why you sinking. Couldn't figure out really what she was thinking. Money over bitches, but it's bitches over money, cause the bitches got money now. So what's your value?
I got 5 on it. I got 5 on it. I got 5 hoes, 2 times 5 toes down. All the realest niggas know now. Ain't no more money, that shit in the hearse. Tales from the crypto, we in the metaverse now. We in the metaverse now. Oh, yeah, I got y'all coin wallets and ledgers and bots and thoughts and plots. That's how all this started. Be kind to a bitch, they be cold-hearted. Think you in control, then God get started. Think God ain't in you, dearly departed. Your ass gone, dog. You gone, dearly departed.
I got 5 on pump 5 before I got here. Hard times mean it's time to get it from the muscle, hustle, ready. We started a revolution, and now it's time for the evolution. Gather all your family and tell them to meet you at grandma's house in that small town down them dirt roads where the Wi-Fi speeds
slow down,
chop and screw like the music we listen to. 227 Mary Jenkins spreading the news, wisdom in her shoes. Take time to listen to the elders. History is remembered by those who write their own story. So what's your story? Tell me your story. Let me shout out them small towns. Arcadia, Hull, Nocatee, Zalfo Springs, Sebring, Avon Park, Ocala. Fort Meade, Brooksville, Spring Hill, Port Charlotte, South Bay. I'm a small town girl. Get them small town sunshine. That's where the party be at, where them juke joints. It's that vibe. The metaverse. When I think of love, I think of the war being over. Weapons of mass destruction finally being destroyed, one machine at a time. Because you are the one, Trinity, be my infinity. Never let me go far beyond the flesh that holds us. Let's encode our code into the cheat code. We so encrypted the way we slip in and out of spaces without folks knowing our IP address. Hell, we're intellectual property with the patent and the copyright. We so right.
Special edition tonight. Y'all know because it's the Women's History Month, so we definitely got to do it different. We got to do it better. We got to do it bigger for women during this March 2024. So today is all about coochie culture, y'all. Listen, everybody else can talk about it. Why can't we talk about it? I mean, we talking about coochie culture and the Kegel crew. So if you're tuning in, I want to make sure you know that, hey, we are a safe space for women, a safe space for black women, a safe space for all people. And today, as we dive into coochie culture, we gonna really have some conversations and, you know, have fun too, because we got a couple games and stuff we gonna play. It's a 2-hour edition, y'all. So, you know, if you don't have a drink, grab you one, you know, and grab you a little snack or something, because, you know, we're gonna be here for 2 hours and we're gonna be talking about us and you know, our coochies and shit. So what else y'all want to talk about? But listen, I want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. And tonight I have some ladies, some dynamic ladies, some beautiful ladies, some real dope people that I have met on this life-changing app of TikTok. And I have created, along with about 136,000 women, the Kegel crew. And I invited a couple of them to join this conversation and be a part of tonight's dialogue in whatever way they see possible. But they agree, and I'm excited because we used to do this, like before we did the whole thing, we used to do these Zoom meetings and talk about the Kegel crew and the things that we have going on. So I want to make sure, you know, you all know that I appreciate you all giving your time to this and making sure that we are all in a good space right now. So let me check in with the ladies. How y'all doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me and joining the Kegel crew, because I have not met some of you and I've heard so much about a lot of you and what you've been doing with Serica, so I'm excited.
That's Aisha talking.
Yeah.
Hi
guys.
Hi, Aisha. Darnell. Okay, so I'm just checking because there's a couple other people that's going to be joining this call, and I want to make sure you're all on here. So let me check. Let me move to Dorney. Miss D, how are you?
Hello, I am well. How is everyone?
Good, good. Can't complain.
Same here. I am grateful for this opportunity to speak with you ladies and the World Wide Web about our coochie culture.
Yes. Oh man, yes. I think I'm glad you're here because you did a remix, a stitch to one of the videos we're going to be talking about tonight, and it was so funny because I think all the ladies who comment on the Kegel videos are comedians. Y'all say some of the funniest things, and I think is always like a moment for us to just laugh with each other because we all know exactly what you're talking about. I appreciate Miss Dorney. She's the one who did the stitch of the other lady who wasn't me. And it was very funny how she ended it. What did you say?
I don't let everybody play with my coochie.
Uh-huh. I don't let everybody. Man, that was so, oh gosh. That was so funny. I think I laughed for a good 5 minutes straight. I was like, oh my gosh, tears. I'm talking about real tears in my eyes. I couldn't believe you did that or even said it. But it was so, it was priceless. It was gold. It was golden.
It was factual though.
Yeah.
It was factual. Everybody, I think that's something that us women also have to get back to is protecting and realizing that our coochies are precious and everyone should have access to it.
Yes, yes. Dorney, I'm gonna come back to you on that because I definitely wanted you to touch on something that you just mentioned. But I want to make sure I acknowledge Miss Angie B. Dope as fuck, dope AF. Uh, I met Angie, you guys, on TikTok, and Angie is actually the person behind the logo for the Kegel Crew. She created this logo, so shout out to her. How you doing, Angie? We can't hear you. Well, I can't hear you. If they can hear you.
Okay, you just gotta be smarter than the apparatus. I'm all here, for real. Um, you're the one that added the AF on my Angie B. Dope.
Yes.
So you get all the accolades for the, and I often have a lot of my posts where I'm like, we're still deciding if I'm AF or not. We're still waiting for, customer feedback kind of thing. But no, doing good. West Coast time. Just actually, I'm even skipping an hour of work right now. Just like if I get an email, if I look distracted, it might be work. But I'm hanging out with you guys. I love what you've put together. I was in when you were talking about the Zoom meetings that we used to do in the beginning. I was a part of those, and I just love the energy of meeting so many different people from all over the world that the app does, but even more so with Serica, because there's a story, there's some humor. She's always got really hot looking guys. I mean, she finds ways to get us in, and it's like you're looking for it. If you don't see her for a little bit, you go looking for it. You're like, I haven't done my Kegels today. What's going on? So, so happy to be here, happy to be invited and be a part of this and meet all these wonderful women.
Yes, thank you, man. Look, I so appreciate you. Like I say, she is the person who created the Kegel Crew logo, which I love. And you guys see, so y'all see the spot, the G spot. Okay, we're not gonna touch that yet. We're gonna wait for that. Okay, all right. So listen, I know we have my cousin, who I met through Clubhouse. Like just a cousin I met through Clubhouse who is also such a dope person, who has come in from the Kegel Crew aspect on TikTok, but she is doing big things already on IG with Black Art Expo, which y'all know I'm a lover of all things art, and she has this really dope game that I actually have the cards for, and we're going to be playing tonight as well to engage with some people. And she has this game called Black Culture Trivia. So we're gonna do a couple pop quizzes on it. But I mean, I want to, Chantel, how you doing, cuz?
Hey, cousin.
How you doing?
How's everybody doing? I'm doing amazing. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Man, thank you for coming. I know, right? So please talk to us about Black Culture Trivia, and then we're gonna jump into the first pop quiz before we get into the game.
Okay, cool. So this is Black Culture Trivia. This is my baby. I created Black Culture Trivia to educate while I entertain. So there's a lot of questions in here where you would know because you watch TV. And then there are some questions in here that I purposely put in here that in the event that you wouldn't just talk about this in everyday life, it'll be like, I never knew Ruby Bridges did whatever. But it sneaks up on you after Martin. So the objective of the game is to secure your black card. This is your black card. When you get your black card, you don't just win in the game, you win in real life because you can use this black card to shop within our network of black-owned brands. So it's kind of like exclusive access to the culture in real life whenever you win in Black Culture Trivia. So that's the premise of the game. We're on our second edition right now. Junior edition is loading. So in the event you want to teach your babies more about the culture, we do have a more appropriate junior edition on the way. But for now, there's the first two editions. It's really cool. The categories are Pass the Aux, which is music, Netflix and chill, which is TV and movies, geography, education. Big Queen Energy, which is a ode to the women all the time.
Right.
Fashion, literature, and tech. So
Okay, okay. Look, you so creative, and
thank,
I
thank
always
you.
love your page. I always love the way you deliver content, and I was so grateful when you agreed to come in and host Black Culture Trivia as part of the conversation tonight. And I appreciate you. I really, really do. I appreciate you. So let's jump into Black Culture Trivia Pop Quiz number one. Steph, we need one of the questions up.
All right, so we're gonna do a practice round. We're gonna do it in threes. So if you want to try your shot, just shout it out. If you're first, we just gonna rock with you. But this is a practice round, so anybody shout it out. 1 second. We're gonna let it come back on the screen so I can read to y'all.
Put it back on the screen. Thanks.
Okay. So who was the first Black woman to run for president? Shirley Chisholm, Stacey Abrams, Sojourner Truth, or Kamala Harris? What y'all think?
Sojourner.
Miss Shirley.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
I'm not.
Hey. First option, I guess.
The first option is Shirley Chisholm. So if you said Shirley Chisholm, you are correct. So boom, if you're playing a game usually at home, your team gets that point. Boom. We're going to the next. So, all right. Now we're going to do the real life pop quiz. So the first person to call it out is on you. The next three are on you. And then boom.
Okay. All right.
Alrighty. So who plays the Queen of Wakanda? Beyonce, Angela Bassett, Sanaa Lathan, or Nia Long?
Angela Bassett.
Yes. Boom.
Angela Bassett. Okay.
Angela Bassett, it's on you. All right, you got two more questions on the board.
One more question. Two more questions. We got two more questions.
On the board. Yeah. Okay. Who was the first published African American poets?
I can see.
You got Phyllis Wheatley, Flora Neale Hurston, Maya Angelou, or James Baldwin?
Jeez.
I want to say Zora.
James Baldwin.
That might be Phyllis. That's Phyllis.
Yeah. Yes. Phyllis, you are correct. Okay, one more question. Let's see if you can bring it home.
Who's leading? Aisha? I can.
Yes.
Okay, so
right.
one more.
On the board.
One more question.
Okay, who was the first Black woman self-made millionaire in America?
Madam CJ.
Boom, there you go. There you go. To you. I love this for you. All right.
I love it for me too.
Congratulations. You're the pop quiz.
I love your game. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for
I
playing.
love it. Yeah.
Thank you.
A loss, and I'm a sore loser.
You're a sore loser.
Got you on the next
Oh
three?
no.
I think I have begging you for the next three. There's
I gotta get this game so I can practice and beat somebody.
Yeah, so we're going to be playing this.
it.
So I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you guys like it because I have reached out to Chantel to partner with me so we can do more Black culture trivia in the Kegel crew. And we want to make sure, people are engaging. So we have Chantel, I was supposed to get you something, right? Because we're supposed to do the final gift, the grand prize.
Yes.
So how we want to do that? I know I was supposed to do something, charge it to my head, not my heart. I'm trying to do everything and.
No, it's fine. So we can either have the grand prize open to everybody on your Instagram where they can answer 10 questions. The first to get all 10 questions right will win the grand prize. Or we could do it on here with the Kegel crew and whoever racks up the most points at the end.
So
take something to practice.
Okay. So let's do, because I do want to engage Instagram more. So I want to make sure, because we got to touch on Instagram, because Instagram kind of infiltrated the Kegel crew with the ladies' video. And I want to play that right quick for a minute so everybody can know why we need to make sure the Kegel crew is also known on Instagram. Not because they just doing what they doing with this band, the bill, but because we're already on IG. Like, the Kegel crew is already on IG, and I wasn't even posting Kegel videos on IG. But Steph, put that video up for me with the lady, and I don't have her name, but I do want to make sure, I show why we're having to make sure we are very visible on Instagram, because we're already over there. Like, the video's gone viral. There's people who know a lot about the Kegel crew and not really where the Kegel crew came from. So I want to make sure as much as possible we're getting it out there that, hey, oh, look, my cousin coming in, y'all. Look at that.
Are there moderator for the YouTube chat? Is there some people commenting?
Yes,
They want to know where they can purchase the game.
Okay, put it right back there. Okay, so the moderator, let me check and see. We got comments, Steph?
The video with the two people in it? You and another girl side by side?
Okay.
Give me 40 Kegels and do it to the beat.
I was about to do them too, but you ain't Sarah. Get Sarah, Sarah CA Inc. Almost had me fooled, but you're too light skinned and your locks ain't red. Oh no, ma'am, I can't do it. I don't let everybody play with my coochie.
So that was Miss Dorney, you guys. So that video of the lady who you guys saw doing it, she is a woman who saw the video and took it as a challenge. And I sent her a DM, and I'm actually hoping that Miss Auntie Gina jumps on. Hopefully she'll jump on here in the next few. But Auntie Gina asked me to reach out to her. If she uses it, just reach out to her, and say something. So I did. I sent her an inbox. Steph, you got the inbox. Put that up there. I sent her an inbox. Listen, Kegel crew came through. Kegel crew was tagging me. It was people tagging me on. I'm all of a sudden wondering why everybody tagging me on IG. What's going on IG? People were tagging my cousin. I sent her the video. It's a DM. Yeah, there it is. So she, you guys can see, I found out literally maybe 4 days prior to that. So I had to get the nerve up to to send this message. And I kind of just wanted to get right to it. And, this was her response. She responded nice. She was nice about her response. She said that she thought it, she was made aware that I was the originator, but she saw it that other people was doing a challenge, and I didn't know it was a challenge. It is a challenge, but I didn't know it was a challenge to do it. It just wasn't being done like that on TikTok. So, you can't control how people take your content and what they do with it once it's out there. But I definitely wanted to make sure I said something because, the Kegel crew is something that belongs to me, and I want to make sure I'm always credited by it. But that was it that she did. Aisha is also my publicist, you guys. So she's always pulling me back because I'm a Sagittarius and I try to go 0 to 1,000, and she always come, well, it's a learning lesson, Serica. So, let's do this. Put all your stuff here. She keeps me from going to jail multiple times, and I'm so grateful for her for that. But Aisha, I know you have experience with dealing with me, but what do you see with the Kegel crew and the need that we're needing to do going on all these other platforms and with TikTok ban and everything? How do we move that forward and make sure we're still keeping safe spaces like the Kegel crew on all these platforms?
Well, I mean, you answered the question in your statement, because there's so many platforms, and as long as you build your following, whether people subscribe to your site, right, and you're collecting email addresses, phone numbers, everyone's handles, that's the way to stay connected. You can keep having Zoom conversations, because there are a lot of women who don't feel comfortable talking about feminine health. And I was so excited when you started this, and then I was more excited and proud and happy for you when I saw how it just grew overnight, because Kegels are important for all women, especially after you give birth, because those muscles, those walls, the contractions, like all of that is so important. So maintaining your hashtags and making sure you pull in practitioners and people who can speak to feminine health, it provides a different perspective and education to make sure that you keep this platform open for women and men. There are single dads that are gonna watch this because they have daughters and they want to know how to talk to their daughters. So even though they may not be in the comments, or maybe they're following, as ghost following, sometimes I'm not familiar with all of the terminology that comes up one day after the next, but they can just be following because they need to know how to talk to their daughters, their nieces, there are people raising young women or in relationship with women, and they don't have the terminology to even talk about how to treat their body and everything. So the TikTok thing is a whole nother conversation in regard to people not wanting us to communicate with each other and share truth as it relates to humans around the world, which is really unfortunate. But we have the platforms, you have the voice, and you pull people in, just like I believe Angela and Darnie were saying, you pull people in and provide a safe space for people to communicate. So you will get that done. You will make sure that on each platform you are branded and there are women and men alike following and joining in on the conversation so that we can maintain healthy relationships with ourselves as women.
Yeah, so I want to go ahead, and that takes me right into the conversation around, I wanted to have the talk with you guys. Like, I know we, Kegel Crew, we have so much fun with what we're doing, but I also wanted tonight to be about things that we need to talk about that we don't necessarily have the space to talk about. And, coochie culture, like, what is that? Like, when you hear coochie culture and hear about just the term, of coochie, and how does that make you feel? And is it appropriate, inappropriate? And I did a podcast interview just recently with Annette, another Kegel Crew member supporter, I want to say supporter. And we had a conversation around coochie culture and how Black women show up in spaces around conversations for sexual health and who we are. And do we have those conversations? And like, honestly, I had to have a real like moment to sit in, like do. If you didn't have a mom that talked to you about, you know, you menstruating, and talk to you about the journey of womanhood and what is that, how do you learn it? And then not to mention, are we really in a space where right now that we can't talk about it? Like, I want to hear from you guys, and let's really dive into this conversation at where you feel comfortable with talking about coochie culture, and how do we make this a conversation that young women can even hear about ways that they can learn about who they are, and how to care for themselves properly.
Is 60 seconds of silence happening?
Can we just jump on in?
Just jump on in. Just jump on in. I think somebody's talking, but we can't. Angie, you're talking and we can't hear you.
Oh, that's me. I said it's like double Dutch. We're all like waiting to jump in.
It's okay. Let's just start.
No, what I was going to say, and just on the other side of how you said you kind of grew up without it, I grew up with a mom that worked who volunteered even at the women's clinic. So in high school, my mom was the type of mom that would sit down with all of my guy friends, all of my girlfriends. I almost got my best friend in 10th grade. I almost got her parents divorced because I had a bag of condoms that I had given out at school, given to me from my mom, and one of them ended up in a jacket that I needed to dry because it was really rainy, and so I put it in their dryer, and then 2 weeks later, my best friend's crying because her parents are getting divorced because they found a condom in the dryer, and
oh my
I
God.
had to go and save face. And then they were mad at my mom. But my mom, I mean, like, from that, so many conversations were had. For one, not only about women's health on my own, like, I was very comfortable speaking to my mom about all types of things in that way, but also just how she had helped a few of my guy friends who had gotten girls pregnant, who were afraid to go talk to their parents, and what to do, and how to be supportive, and all that whole thing. It was really awesome for me to grow up seeing that, you know, and I was blessed to be able to have that. Although it was really annoying when I'd have friends over and she would hand out, you know, sex ed pamphlets to the entire friend group, you know, like, oh, everybody sit down, we're going to learn about gonorrhea today. And it's like, Mom, please stop. But anyway, aside from that, what I love so much about what coochie culture does is I feel like a little bit more of an empowerment. I don't feel like there are some words that are kind of degrading or disrespectful, but I feel like, you know, the way we've taken it on in a fun way, or the way that you've taken it on in a fun way, and the way that it brings everybody else in a lighthearted way, which makes it a little bit easier to be a little bit more honest with each other on what we do and do not know, or whether or not there's a safe space there. I think it opens that up. But that's, you know, that's just my first thought when I think of coochie culture. I kind of feel like women's needs and wants are sometimes put to the side in the patriarchal society, but I'll stop there. Start going off.
So I want to acknowledge the Kegel crew on TikTok. We weren't able to get the other YouTube to stream at the same time, so I had to go live on TikTok, and a couple responses was, I love how transparent, and this is from Miss T, I love how transparent my mother was with me, and I would love to be as transparent to young women. Another one of ours said, I believe it is extremely important to learn about pH balance, grooming, menstrual, and menopause. And like how she just named those things, like I'm gonna be honest, like I was good and grown before I started having those conversations, and I was literally having those conversations with my friends even before I would have them with my doctor, because I wasn't comfortable around having conversations about my coochie. Like I wasn't comfortable with it. I didn't know, I think I felt shame around it. I felt shame, and that comes from trauma. I know that comes from trauma, but I don't want to live in that. I want to make sure that I'm having these conversations in a way that's healing. And the fact that, we are all agreeing that these spaces need to be created for even young girls, young women to hear from us like, hey, you're going to go through this, and when you get here, this is, what to expect, and, it's not the end of the world. How we move forward as women is very important, because especially if we have women who we can go and talk to, like, do you have that group of women that you can talk to like we're talking like right now? I think this is the closest group I've had of where we can talk about this intimate of a conversation. Like, do you all have that group that you can talk about this stuff with?
So to chime in a little bit, I think I am Miss Angie's mom. I was the person handing out the gonorrhea and the syphilis pamphlets to my children's friends. Hearing it back from Miss Angie, I'm like, oh my God, that was me, Lord. I embarrassed my children and their friends, but I created spaces for them to be able to talk about things, and I did it in a comical way with those children, to the point to where it wasn't something that was taboo anymore, because they were laughing and joking about it initially. And then, of course, we brought it on back to the severity of, what it was that we were talking about, and how serious STDs and STIs can be. But I think where a lot of parents lose their kids, or lose, not just parents losing their kids, where a lot of people have that disconnect, is because of this being such a serious matter.
Mm-hmm.
Consequence is the first thing that they think about. So that drives them into isolating themselves, or feeling that this type of topic is not something that should be discussed openly, because the first thing that we're brought awareness about are consequences.
Okay.
Even with that, sorry, not to interrupt you, Serica, but
Nope.
Even with my experience growing up that way, though, I still felt shame. Still feel shame. Like that's even something, and I don't think you're old.
But why? Why do we feel?
I think, honestly, it's patriarchal society. We're actually the ones that can create life. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's their way of making us feel dirty or bad. We're damned if we do, we damned if we don't. If we give it up too soon, we're this. If we don't give it up, we're that. And there's a power element. That's why I love like the idea of coochie culture, and like what you're doing is it's putting the ownership back into like, oh, yeah, that thing right there that I'm testing these muscles with, that is mine.
Right.
I have control over it. Who do I want to be? How do I want to be represented? Who do I want next to me? Is this person worth my time? It really does ask a lot of those questions, I think. At least it has for me, and I hope that it does for other women.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely some shame there. And it makes me sad for young women who don't have someone, because it's even more frightening if you don't have that space.
Yes.
Aisha, what are some of the things that, and I know the work you do, I want you to talk about that. What are some of the things that, we can do as women who are actively working on ways to create more safe spaces for these types of conversations? How do we create it in an age-appropriate space? Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's such a good question, especially considering our societal norms and how we treat health education. Everything's so taboo, and it would really benefit us as a society if we stop taking the names of our body parts and making it something that we should not talk about. You know, people in kindergarten, little humans should know what their body parts are, and it's not a sexual thing. You are identifying anatomy. So in other countries, they have these conversations, and everything is not sexualized, and they don't have the rate of negative incidences like we do, because this is just health education, right? So that's one thing. And then making these conversations comfortable. It starts in home, but you know, it also starts in schools, right? We have school boards that some of our peers decide that these conversations should not take place in the school setting. And I am a firm believer in comprehensive education. I think everybody should have the tools that they need to make healthy decisions about their bodies, because some children, like we're hearing right now, do not have access to those conversations. Me being the daughter of a Jamaican mom, you know, and sometimes it's about culture. My mom, I don't even know if I've heard my mom say vagina or penis. Like, I don't remember hearing her say that. I did not learn from her about sexual health and things of that nature. So when I became a parent, and when I became the mom of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 daughters, my first 3 daughters are older. They're about to be 23-year-old twins, and then I have a 21-year-old right behind them. And it was so important for me to change the narrative regarding feminine health. So we've grown up learning, you know, about women screening through pregnancy and PMS. Everyone's angry, and we're going to eat chips, and we're going to eat salt and sugar, and we're going to do all of this. And for my daughters, you know, I taught them about yoni love. Yoni is a Sanskrit word for vagina. So I'm like, okay, this is what's going to happen. It's your body's way of preparing you. If you need to rest, if you feel this type of way, this is what you're going to eat. This is what we're going to use to make it comfortable. We're not piling up our cabinet with a whole bunch of drugs. Like, if there's a health issue, that's one thing. But this is the way that we are going to take preventative measures. Not treat this like this is some other crazy, ugly thing. It's beautiful. Like, we have wombs, and we have to take care of them because our bodies house humans, and our bodies create milk, and we can do all of these amazing things with our body. And when we take care of them, and when we communicate in a healthy way with our bodies can do even more. But we have to change the narrative, because as Angie B. Dope AF said, unfortunately, a lot of things are communicated to us from a male perspective. And that is very unhealthy. They can be a part of the conversation. Yes, welcome them to the table when it comes to, let's talk about ways to keep our sisters, our daughters, our moms, let's talk about ways to keep us healthy. But you can't make those decisions for us, because you don't have a uterus, you don't have womb, you don't have vaginal walls. You don't know what that feels like. So there are so many different areas where we have to take that conversation over, like you're doing with the Kegel Crew, with Coochie Culture. That's why my daughters, you know, people used to warn me, oh my God, when your daughters all have their cycles, like, my house is gonna be crazy. And I used to, like, be tense, like, is my house gonna be nuts? But no, it wasn't, because of the way that I led when it came to menstruation and everything moving forward. And I am that mom too, Angie and Darnie, who is like, oh, let's talk about this now. like you're gonna have these tools.
Yeah.
Because it's important for you to know, because you have to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
So,
you know,
I really love this.
Yeah, Aisha, you said something, and that's actually a good segue into one of the questions, topics I wanted to pose to the group. So we know the overturning of Roe v. Wade happened, and partly because the over 3/4 of the deciding factors are men, and regardless of you're on one side or the other, what my perspective of it, and why I'm going full-fledged with Kegel Crew and women's sexual health and creating these types of spaces, is because after doing some research, I realized, when it became an issue that men had erectile dysfunction, when men couldn't get a hard on, Congress got involved, and they started putting all type of legislation and all type of money behind research on how men can keep getting them a hard on. Like, you try to go touch erectile dysfunction medicine and say we're going to cut spending, or we're not going to, they will have a fit about it. And they put so much, they made it okay for us to talk about it on a federal level, about men keeping their hard-ons. Like, that's what it is, erectile. That's what this conversation is about for me, is that we're talking about we're talking about people's right to their bodies, and how one is protected. It's protected for you to be able to have the medication, access to medication and research to keep having a hard-on. But when we're talking about now Roe v. Wade, these same men have taken those rights away. I'm really like, hey, look, we got to make sure we have this conversation, and not make it a taboo conversation, make it a real conversation that everybody's okay with, because it's real. And if we don't talk about it, it hurts us more than it helps us. So, I want to hear from you guys, like, how important is it important that we talk about these more with the overturning of Roe v. Wade?
Definitely. And I kind of think the overturning of that leads right back to what I was talking about when I said how I spoke to my kids about anatomy health, and the first thing they could focus on was the consequences. I think the whole reason that Roe v. Wade is now in consideration for even being overturned was due to the consequences of the choice that was made in the first place. So I think a lot of these congressmen who do take Cialis and Viagra and whatever, the opportunity to hide your infidelities was basically taken away when they took that right away from us as well. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the reason why, it's the main reason for reconsidering to, overturn that, is because of what was happening due to the fact that they had taken that right away from women. You had a lot of mistresses and things who now could no longer hide what they were doing.
Put the link in my bio.
Due to them now being pregnant. So that was, I think, the only reason. I don't think that women and the consideration of women was even taken to that board when it came to talking about overturning Roe v. Wade. I don't think that women were put in consideration when it came to that. I think the consequences was the only thing that made them think about that again and put it to be overturned.
Okay.
It's definitely, it goes just right back to it. For me, it's 100% about control. It's not even necessarily about the baby per se. It's about the control. I really truly believe that's where the heart of this is. And unfortunately, very true, a lot of the mistresses can't go do what they got to do, but if you have money it's a totally different ball game. So it's really you know, it's an attack on lower income families, lower income, you know, more, you know, lower income parts of communities that don't have the social support, that don't have the programs, that don't have the education. And so it's further pushing a control narrative over a large swath of, like, I don't know how many states it is. Currently, I'm right next to Idaho. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. I'm right next to Idaho. I'm in Washington. So we're a blue state. We're still okay where we are. But Idaho, I have friends that live in Idaho. You can't, if my friend got pregnant and I went to go pick her up, I would be facing charges.
Wow.
You know, if I was to bring her to our state. I did want to add a very interesting thing that I experienced. My ex got a vasectomy probably about 10 years ago. And it was like one appointment scheduled and done. We were separated. We've been separated. I went to go get my tubes tied last year, and they basically made me wait 30 days as a deciding time to make sure that I was sure. And they needed me to confirm that it was okay with my ex-husband, because we're not officially divorced. Mm-hmm. So even in a blue state with the insurance policies that were required, my ex, who were separated, had to sign off on my surgery to get my tubes tied at 45. It's crazy.
So there was you could well that was wow. Because you were, yeah. Y'all, I'm talking to Cuz, so if you part of Sit with Serica, y'all know Cuz be in the background talking, and she don't want to be on camera, but she'll let her voice be heard, you know, but she's who I talk to. Like, she's my person that I talk to, and, you know, we have different experiences, but she definitely just...
I hate to see you go, but hey, Cuz.
Hey.
Is that... Hold on.
Who is?
Cuz who that?
Yeah, Crazy T.
Hey. Crazy T. Hey, Crazy T.
We acting civilized today.
Crazy T. No, I mean, we go. You know what, Crazy T? That. Look, Crazy T. What you drinking?
It's a wine called Lolly, and you know what I put in it.
Hennessy.
I ain't yell my liquor.
Hennessy.
Look how she acting.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah. Crazy T, I'm so glad you was able to get on. How are you?
I'm good. These kids is kidding.
Yeah, the kids are kidding. Now the kids are kidding. Listen, I'm glad you came on because Pop Shanny, I want to see if you can take us into a quick pop quiz for.
You already do.
We ready. Let's get it.
We stay ready.
Yes, 3 more questions on the board. So I'm gonna shout out the question. If you know it, answer it, and then it's on you. You get your 3 points.
Oh, no, I do.
All right, good. All right.
Destiny.
Okay, so TV Show released a song in 2002. The title of that song has since been added to the dictionary. What is the name?
Bootylicious.
Yes.
Bootylicious.
Alrighty.
Yes.
Let's get number 2. At what school did Meg Thee Stallion earn her degree? Texas Southern University.
TSU. Texas Southern.
All right.
Who said TSU first?
Wait, you cannot have none.
This is Dornella's game. All right, buddy. You got one more. Can you name 3 black women Olympians?
Simone Biles.
Mm-hmm.
Dominique Dawes.
Yes.
And the girl with the long nails. What's her name? The girl with the long nails who run.
The track one that was passed.
What's her name?
The running girl.
Shakari.
Yeah.
Shakari.
Yeah, Shikari. Yeah.
Shakari.
All right, good job. That's your 3. You got your 3.
I mean, we had Jackie Joyner Kersey, Gail Divas, Joe Flo. Yeah, we you know.
We had this, yeah.
Yeah, Gabby Douglas. Yeah, listen, my brother back here playing the game too. He back here playing the game too. All right.
Good job, y'all.
Thank you, y'all. And listen, if y'all not following Black Art Expo, make sure you go over there and follow on IG because she has these cards. Listen, it's a deck of cards. So on game night, we gonna be playing it on Kegel Crew. It's a deck. It's a whole game, and we gonna play for drinks. How about that? We gonna play for shots. Look crazy. We gonna play. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Oh man. So listen, I want to jump to another topic, and I want to make sure this topic. Wait, first, did we get our three? We got our three. So who won that round? Dorney. Dorney. Okay, so Dorney won that round. Okay, so I want to talk about this topic, and I'm gonna push this over to Aisha, and so the topic says we want to address the stereotypes surrounding Black women's sexuality. So the podcast, I sent it to you earlier where I was having a conversation with Annette, and we were talking about, while we are talking about sexual health, there's a difference when our white counterparts talk about sexual health versus the way we talk about it within our community. How do you see the conversations around Black women's sexuality, and is that a conversation that we should have at a certain age with our daughters? And is it a conversation that we should allow men to participate in?
Definitely. I think men should participate in these conversations as well. And I think that young ladies, especially young ladies who have just entered into puberty, should definitely be aware of these conversations and included.
Because listen, when we talk about our menstruation cycles and stuff, I started when I was 12, and I was scared as hell, So those types of conversations for men who have daughters, like if, there are men who are raising their daughters without their mothers, like, how are they having those conversations? And I know you work within a space for with moms and working with making sure doulas are accessible. What do you see is that conversation, and how can we make sure we have it more openly?
One, home for me is very important, and I do understand that all children do not have access to someone who is readily able to communicate or feels comfortable communicating because of culture and generational trauma. So many different things play a part in why people communicate or don't, and support the way that they do communicate. That's one. It would be very helpful if we learned from other countries like Finland, where they talk about these things early on and don't have the same type of issues that we have, because it's not something that is, it's not, we're not laughing at it, we're not making it taboo, or they are not. Before you started, you had asked a question, and it's escaping me about 2 minutes ago.
I asked
But then,
I'm sorry, about black
because
women's
I wanted to speak to that. Okay.
black
You were
women's
talking about,
sexuality, the
yes, and
stereotypes
sexuality.
around
Thank
it.
you. Yeah. So one, that definitely comes from generations of fear and how black women were seen in this country and in other countries based off of black people being spread throughout continents for various types of labor that were against their will, and how black women were seen in that environment. And then I believe moving forward, our moms, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, and great great grandmothers, we were fearful of how to gauge sexuality and talk about feminine health. But in our society, the marketing of black women kept going. So the narrative was basically taken over by those who control the media. Whereas black women and our ancestors, our conversation came from a place of fear. So sometimes we didn't talk about it. Everything was so hush-hush, and you didn't want to be seen a certain way. So you have to watch your language and the way you looked and the way you dressed, and if you were looking into someone's eyes. And I mean, those stereotypes, those types of communication regarding our verbal communication, our physical communication, you can still see the ripple effect of that in our culture today in 2024, where we even have to talk about sexual violence and teaching women to arm themselves because of how we may be treated by our male counterparts. So as black women, again, talking about coochie culture, especially in a place where people don't feel comfortable, is very important. Talking to our children very early is important. And then you're also saying, how do we address sexuality where we all have a screen, whether it's our cell phone, an iPad, laptop, computer. So there are women who are very much about owning their body and what sexuality looks like, and what they want to wear. So you have to, but it's important to also frame that in art, because a lot of that is art. However, when black women are expressing themselves through art, it is seen differently, and we have to do a better job of supporting each other in the way that we communicate about each other, and making sure that we are not shaming and absoluting other women because it is hurtful, and the social imprint lives on. I'm so grateful that my high school years were not exposed to social media.
Right.
Right. Because the damage.
Listen.
Period.
Did you have the slam book era? Did you have cause were you a part of the slam book? The slam book. You was part of the slam book. Listen.
I was part of the slam book.
The slam book.
And the main thing used to be in our slam books was other people's coochies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the main thing.
Yes.
I smell who got your finger in.
Yes. Yes. Even in high school. Oh my gosh, them slam books started. So people didn't come to school after that. Like it was tough. It was really tough. So slam book, if you don't know what a slam book is, a slam book is literally somebody taking about 10 to 15 sheets of notebook, and writing questions that aren't age appropriate. Who got the best head? And these are high school. This is high school now, happening in high school. Or who fingering? Who let you finger? Like, and it would be all people answering it, or who smells, or who's. The smell one was the most humiliating, because then depending on who got the book, the people would write names. And the book would literally be passed around. It would go around the entire school. You talking about social media? That
Ours
slam book.
the school district.
Oh my gosh.
The way ours was set up was it was an actual notebook with the rings in it where you could tear pages.
Tear the pages out. Yes, yes.
Okay, it was an actual ring notebook, and they would write names and schools.
Oh
And
gosh.
They would write names and schools in the slam book, and you were able to write your opinion, what you thought about them. If they would have on the pages, it would be certain things like fights. So you could in detail write about this fight went on in the cafeteria with so and so and so and so. And whatever. So it was a storybook pretty much of the entire school. And they would pass that mug to different school districts, and we would trade off other school districts' slam books.
Yeah, and I think the slam book, that slam books, and not just, not even just slam books, gossip. Gossip, the way, if you were a young girl who was sexually active at 16, 17, whatever age, and you did it with a boy that talked, if you did it with a boy that talked, your whole life was now spread across the entire community. And it was done in a way that would make the people in the community. I think that's Crazy T. Mute your Crazy T, mute your Zoom, please. The rumors were spread, or the story the person told everybody in the community, till now you got even older people, older women talking about, this girl is fast. So she's doing, like, it made you feel nasty, dirty, like you was an outsider, because you did something that everybody gonna eventually do, regardless. And you might not have done it, but again, if a boy went and said, that was what it was, And I was, I noticed when I was growing up, we used to walk to school. I walked from Liberty Park all the way to Pompano High School. So we would walk, and even when I went to Ely, now when we went to Ely, we used to have this thing called a school scab. Okay, so let me tell y'all what the school scab is, because now, as we talk about coochie culture, we got to also identify the people who've been dealing in coochie culture long before we called it this. Literally, the school scab was everybody walking, the kids, high school. We walking home, because the high school is right in the middle of the neighborhood. Blanchard High School is in the middle of the neighborhood. And it don't matter which direction you go, houses, apartments, all surrounding it. When we would walk, it would literally be grown men in their cars riding down the street to pick up young girls. This all 4 years I was there, it happened. All 4 years. And, mind you, these things were happening, and it was never looked at like the men were wrong. It was looked at like the girls were fast. You fast, you grown, you think, but it was never looked at like these men was doing something wrong now. Mind you, we talking high school, and these are things like when we talk about coochie culture, like not in a way, for me, it's never in a way to place blame. It's let's identify it so we can do it better and figure out how to move forward in a way that heals us. But I know for a fact, experience, the amount of guys, grown men, that stopped me on the way home. It was amazing. It was really amazing that, you know, now when I think about it, these are the reasons why I pick my kids up from school. You know, I take them and pick them up. Especially, I got an older daughter that, my middle daughter. She's very shapely. Like, you're not gonna confuse her for a little girl. You're gonna think she grown. You know, so I make sure I have to pick her up. You know, but these are things that that's happening in our communities and happening in our lives that we still haven't figured out a way to address it, that it doesn't happen to you know, our kids. Because now we got kids. You know, we got kids, and we know if the men was doing it then, if these men got sons or nephews or something that they teaching, then they gonna do the same thing. So do the school scabs still go on? I don't know. You know, do slam books still happen? I don't know. But I know that the conversations around sexuality and sex are still happening. And the alarming rate of sexually transmitted disease amongst young people are crazy, rising. You know, we're not having those conversations in a way that makes them think about it more than just acting, you know, because it's natural. Sex is natural, but we don't talk about it like it is. And because we don't talk about it like it is, as women, we carry the shame of it, when the grown men, the one picking up we carrying the shame, you know. But that's something that I always thought about. And we could talk about it more, but I want to make sure I give Miss Pop Shani another chance to get us in some black culture trivia, and I want to see who gonna take this home. We got? I think we got three more.
Aisha won one. I won the second one. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say I won because I needed help on it.
No. You won that one. You got that one because.
Oh, yours. Take it with your chest.
Yes, you got that one. You got that one.
So that means we have 2 more rounds left.
Okay.
So all right, what's the questions? All right, so boom, who is the first female rapper nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Missy Elliott, Nicki Minaj, Lil' Kim, or MC
Missy
Lyte?
Elliott.
Yes, it is most definitely Missy Elliott.
Okay.
I can't see the.
I know, I can't either.
You know what?
It's my
I have my
bifocals.
glasses on.
I was
and
really.
I'm farsighted. I need my glasses to see far away.
So who is Hollywood's youngest producer of all time? Is it Spike Lee, Marsai Martin, China Ann McClain, or that girl Lele?
Marsai.
Yes, most definitely the young queen, the young sis. Little boo.
I heard 2 people say Marseille at the same time, but my cousin actually said it first over here.
Okay. Okay, so who plays Penny Proud's voice? Kyla Pratt, Crease, Pratt? Yes. I hope y'all was keeping score because all I could hear was voices. But
This is my era. I know this one.
all right, that was the next week. We got one more round, so hopefully, if you were, standing by on the next round, you can take it on home.
Yes. Thank you,
Yes,
Shani.
thank
Thank you. Okay. So listen, I want to talk a bit about the Kegel Crew. Okay, because I want to hear from you guys what you think the Kegel Crew is, and where do you think it's going? Like, what do you see with the Kegel Crew, and what is it to you?
It's my daily workout.
Your daily workout?
I'm not doing no crunches. I done got older now, and so my exercising routine will be more along the lines of sit and be fit. So because of that, Kegels is my major core exercise. And the reason being for that is because the pelvic muscle is very important for me to strengthen. Now, I then went a little further. Instead of just doing the Kegels with that, now I'll go back and play. I'll play around and do it regularly without any weight or anything on myself. And then when I get home and I'm able to indulge in my own things that I have in my house, I'm not at work or something like that, I'll go and get my yoni egg and put it in and then replay the video. Now I have.
Oh, you advanced. You done went to another level. See,
I'm gonna grow up and be like you.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just I'm just filling y'all in on what I do.
Right.
What really is to me.
New levels. You don't.
And if you want to, the young lady who was in here, Miss Aisha, spoke about yoni. So they have yoni eggs, and they have. Now I don't get all into too much into, the putting in those herbs and steams and what. Like I said, she's very particular.
Right.
Everybody can't talk to her. Everything can't be up in her. She's really particular. So that's another reason why she wouldn't react to the other young ladies' command on give me your keepers. See, everybody, she don't allow everybody to tell. Now, me personally, at work and things, I take demands from anybody, whatever. But she has her own, mind, spirit, and everything else. Kind of like how Miss Tabitha has a personality for her hair, Donna. Donnie got a whole nother.
Right.
A whole nother personality.
On which one you're right.
Yeah.
Which one you're right.
Yeah. And she run it. I don't even run nothing.
Right. She turn on when she want to. She turn off when she want to.
As soon as we see the ceiling, as soon as I hit give me, it starts automatically.
Immediately.
Give me, wait a minute, it's too early.
To bring it back to the video, on that video, I had my phone. I grew up in a different era. If I wasn't there, you just couldn't reach me. Okay, you better leave a message to this doggone Boys to Men in the background, and I'll call you back when I get a chance.
Right.
Play this young tape.
Yes.
Let me know that you actually contacted. It may be a couple of days, it may be a couple of weeks, but leave that message on that
voicemail.
And I'm gonna be able to, you're gonna be able to jam to Bended Knee in the background. So I don't care about my phone. I scroll and then throw it down. So when I threw it down, I didn't look at the screen to see who it was. I just heard. And then I heard the song in the background because I had already watched the video, and I heard the song in the background. I don't know.
Tea Time, DJ The Wop.
Yes.
Yeah, it's The Wop, DJ Tea Time.
Yes. And I heard the song and I got ready to do it. And then when I went to my phone to prop it up so that I could do my yoni exercise with the egg, I seen it wasn't no red dreads and it wasn't a person who normally is in. That's my normal trainer. Like my normal trainer. It's kind of like walking in the gym. And, you hearing you see the class going on and you hearing it, but then when you walk up to your station, it ain't who it's supposed to be. Oh no, I'm grabbing my stuff and walking up out the stage. Who
Papa, who this woman?
Yeah.
So, it wasn't no disrespect to nobody because I said I was about to do it. I was about to get it on in there.
I wasn't.
Crazy T say she wasn't. There's people. There are people who are genuinely upset about the video, and I mean, I don't, more than anything, I like positive energy. I don't do well in negative stuff. So, I know people were upset, and rightfully so, because there's a level of intimacy and trust amongst the Kegel crew that, hey, look, You know, we are dealing with a very sensitive part of our body. Like you can't just be popping in and out of here. I get it. I 100% get it.
I mean, you know, one night stands just aren't my thing. And so, thanks to Kegel, I always get a call back. So,
yes.
I felt some type of way. I didn't want to do that. And then see, like I said, it was a different set because, like I said, I heard the song.
Right.
When I came home, it's different if I had been at work or in a different setting. I would have probably done the little Kegels to the video just because I support, like, you know, Sarah could say, I'm all about positive. And then still would have went ahead and then gave reference to Sarah if I had stitched or made the video like I did.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was in a moment, if you look at the video, how I was propped up on the sofa.
Yeah, you were laying down a little. You was ready. You was ready, friend. I saw you.
You feel me? I had my egg in. So
Yeah.
I was ready to, you know what I'm saying? All right, here we go.
Right.
You know? But
we was ready for the.
And that's what, right, that's my count.
Y'all so, they so. Y'all so.
That last one for 10 seconds.
Yes, yeah.
Right, that's my count. You see?
Oh. Oh, wow.
That's, you know, I made it in a joking fashion where I said, everybody don't, because like I said, if you actually pay attention to the video, I really was kind of like at my OBG office, how they got you propped up.
Right.
And whatnot, you know? And it just, when I looked at the phone, like I said, to prop it away from me so I could just scroll and have my hands free to do as I please, I realized it wasn't the right person.
Right.
Your video cracked me up. You said you ain't even a real Sarah. Cause she wasn't, cause we used to the.
I needed them blinks. Cause I lose count without them blinks.
You lose count.
For 10 seconds that gets me every time.
The hoes get a lot of people.
Seconds. Wait, what? She catches me every morning when I'm driving to work. And I'm like, yo, I be jamming. Next thing I know, give me 40 giggles and hold that last one for 10 seconds. What? Okay, hold on. You know, we did this with Sarah on Sunday. So it take a minute for it to register on Monday.
Nah, but see, if you own it.
Oh, wow.
We don't be there because we be in Deluluville.
Yeah, we was there Sunday. We was there last night. We were.
I stay in Deluluville.
You live there? Wait, you done built you a house? You done built you a house in Deluluville?
It's a mission.
Oh my gosh.
We all there.
Oh man.
Don't nobody need to ride home because you can sleep there.
Yeah. We might need to do an episode on Deluluville because listen, it's delusional. It's quite delusional.
Yes.
So I want to hear from Aisha and Angie about y'all Kegel Crew experience and what is Kegel Crew and what it means to you guys.
You want to go ahead?
Sure. I love it. I told you before, like as soon as you told me you were doing that, and when I saw the growth and all of the women that joined the crew, I was all about it. You know, I've been doing Kegel circa '96 because after 6 pregnancies, it is a must. So I am all about some Kegels. I do Kegels every day, in the morning, in the evening. It's like exercising any other part of your body. Any other muscle. So, you know, I work these muscles, my quads, my hamstrings, my glutes, all of the stuff. And so I do the same. And I love it. Thank you, Sarika. Thank you for always doing your thing.
Thank you for keeping me from wrecking out. Thank you.
Always will.
Angie B. Dope AF.
No, so I wanted to say for one, in the very beginning, I used to think it was a challenge, but it was a race. So I'd be like, I'm about to, ready? Here we go. Okay. And so I would like literally make it. I'm like, I got to get there before she says it's time to do the last hold it for 10. I'm going to get there before. Don't blink. Because if you're blinking and I'm faster, you mess up my number. So I actually look away from you. Because if I'm looking at you, then it slows me down. And if I'm in a hurry, man, I gotta get in and get out with those Kegels. It's so important. No, one of the things that I think that you have the ability to build a platform around is more sex ed. Not to say that you aren't doing it or that you should be, but I think in a unique, just the same way that you say and how my mom did and how I am with my kids about sexual health and just being open about it is sometimes you, not so much in a disrespectful way, we still want to stay within the idea of using the appropriate words, but at the same time being a little bit more lighthearted. And I think also sharing our stories. Somebody else brought it up prior, but menopause.
Mm-hmm.
Completely missed topic all through every bit of everything. And my mom is even a nurse and worked in women's health. And she goes, yeah, I don't know. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
What the fuck you mean? It's just the way it is. I'm sorry. I don't know if you heard this either, but they just recently started actually testing tampons with actual
blood,
period menstruation.
Blood, yeah,
they
menstruation blood.
It with water and all other shit. Yeah, and it was men. So, I mean, and I know it's 2024 and we're up against a lot of shit with all the reproductive rights and everything, but no one's going to teach the young ladies better than us. No one's going to tell the stories. I have trauma stories I'm comfortable sharing, but nobody's going to share the stories. Nobody's going to do it other than us. And, just every opportunity that you have within this coochie culture is the ability to empower just one young woman. I mean, just one to just start asking questions, whether it's of you and offering your inbox or whether it's posting, and having a female doctor touch on one specific subject. You know what I mean? And the thing is I mean, like, I have friends that grew up with my mom the way they are, and they still deal with not understanding their bodies at 45.
Yeah.
So, and it's years and years of not having the medical support that we need and the communication that we need. And obviously we're battling more than we were, a year ago or 2 years ago when we lost Roe versus Wade. Yes. So, but I think that the one there's a cool element. It's inclusive. I mean, thank you guys for allowing a white woman to join you on
it was
topic.
It was specific.
Mm-hmm. It was specific.
It was specific.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But in that idea though, that it is an inclusive topic that can reach anyone at home. And the way I love TikTok and the way that it allows you to be authentic, Instagram and Facebook do not allow you the space to be authentic.
Yeah.
And I have created more friendships and more relationships on TikTok that I think I meet at the same level with these people than I ever do with any of my 1,000 followers on either one of the other things. I mean, those are all relationships, they're people, but no, I'm meeting Serica. I met Serica through TikTok, and she's changed me as a person and given me different education and a different experience from understanding her Florida life, because it's vastly different than what I experienced. And it's the same thing with, coochie culture is sharing those stories, sharing, knowledge and education, and just saying it's okay to not know. It's okay, even at 45, to not know what to expect. Or if you're dealing with shame, I mean, fuck, it really is what it is.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're fine. No, I was good.
I want to cut someone off. Or I'll just
me.
Go ahead, Aisha.
No. I was not you at all. You just gave me, you inspired me with some of what you were saying. So, one, when we are talking about our just cycles and all of that, and the drugs that are pushed on us at an early age that mess us up. It's like, oh, take this. You have a heavy cycle. Take this, take this. They don't talk about nutrition. They don't talk about rest. They don't talk about the things that maybe you're allergic to.
Exercise.
Maybe your body, they do not talk about that. And so when you talked about, you have traumatic stories, I remember being put on birth control and then bleeding for 3 weeks in college. And I'm like, having it be vacuumed and everything, instead of saying, you know what, like, let's see why her body is reacting this way. And then to add, this country and New Zealand, maybe more, but these two countries are the only ones that market prescription drugs straight to the consumer. Yeah. So in other countries, you're not going to see a bunch of ads about Cialis, Dialis, Festival, whatever acronym and name they want to give all of these prescription drugs. They do not do this around the world. It is not normal. It is not normal to start telling people that they need to take drugs for every single thing. Because now we have a whole epidemic where 1 in 3 people are on some type of drug. Everybody's cabinets are full.
Right.
So I'm going to get off that soapbox. I just wanted to share how disturbing a lot of our social norms are, and how with coochie culture and what you can do with the platform, you can help to change the conversation, the direction, the narrative.
Yes.
So
yeah.
And that's my hope, because I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. The Kegel Crew, when it started to take off, I was fine with it taking off on TikTok. When I started to feel uncomfortable was when I would go around my neighborhood and people would say, every time I see you, I'm doing crazy. I'm like, but you've been seeing me. You've been seeing me, and it now put people who I have direct access to, or who have direct access to me, or if I'm out and they see me, people who know me. Now that's where I was like, okay, because then now I'm gonna start talking about this, and it's not, Aisha, you know that I as a spoken word, I do erotic poetry, so there are some things that I say in my poetry. I'm a writer, so I'm not shy about having the conversation with people, but it felt a little different for me when people started noticing me in my community, that started following me on TikTok and started seeing the Kegel videos. And I'm okay with it now, because I'm an activist. I'm an advocate. I'm going to speak for people and their stories, their human experiences, and I do that in many different ways. And I think this is just another way of advocacy for me, and it also allows others' voices to be heard. I want to make sure I say these two things, because Angie, you mentioned about being a white woman and being in this space, being welcome in this space, and I want to make sure I say this. I don't know if people know this, but based on the analytics I have from the 136,000 followers on TikTok, over 70% of those followers are white women. So
they have a coochie.
Yes.
We all have coochies.
We all do.
We all bleed red.
Yeah.
We all do.
And Serica, and you're reaching them in a very vulnerable, and that even just says how much more, we have the opportunity to sit on the same space. I mean, we're female, and we experience all of this stuff the same. We're all really same. The world doesn't do that, but we are. We have different experiences, but ultimately we all have the same needs. We all experience a lot of the same shit, especially when it comes from, the male gender. They're pretty consistent no matter where you find them.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I say that, because I'm a lover of people. I'm a lover of good people, and I like to create safe spaces for myself. And I'm only gonna feel safe if you are a safe person for me to be around. And Angie, you have always given me good energy. I reached out to you because your energy had interaction with the Kegel crew had always been positive with me. So, I mean, I'm very inclusive. There are men part of the Kegel crew. There are men who religiously come through on the Kegel videos and
I
support.
wanted to touch on that.
Yes, we can definitely
respect the men.
Yes, they come
Yes,
through.
we do.
They share their video. They share the video. Like I literally had men share the videos to their wives or to their girlfriends. Hey, here, follow her. Like they are supportive. So the Kegel crew is very inclusive. It is just led by a black woman, and not just it is, and it is done in a way that we have always been as black women, and that's nurturing and mothers and caring for this planet. You know, there's not a race of people that have not interacted with the nurture and of a black woman, and I stand on that in a way that, you know, is loving of everyone, but also acknowledging that, hey, look, yeah, you get black culture when you come over here because I'm a black woman, but I'm also a human being, and that includes you if you feel included. But I can't go above and beyond to make you feel that way. I can just exist and be who I am. And that's what I appreciate about you is your acceptance of not wanting to be centered in the conversation, be a part of the conversation. And I get that from most of the women a part of the Kegel crew, that even the white women that part of the Kegel, the podcast I did with Annette, part of, and I'm going to post that up for you guys too. She was genuinely interested in having the conversation about how black women have these conversations compared to white women, and taking it from like, I just need to listen. She was listening the entire time. And those are types of conversations that I like to engage in, because if you're asking me from my perspective, then it is not a debate. You know, you're asking me to speak and give you my experience, and you have to listen. But if it is done in a way where, you know, I don't involve myself in those types of conversations, and I appreciate, you know, your willingness to come on. Annette, actually, we have a video I want to put up from Annette from the podcast she did, and yeah, I mean, Angie, you in the crew, We loving the crew. I guess.
Welcome to Death Row.
Yeah.
Men, I'm gonna throw this in real quick.
Men,
that
yes.
watching, that are part of the Kegel crew. You can do Kegels. There's a thing that you guys can do where you can make it jump. Right? So when she say to the beat, you make it jump to the beat.
To the beat. And you hold it for 10 seconds.
And you hold it up.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the day that a man does it and tags me, and I'm waiting. I can't wait to share that. I'm just waiting for a bold man to do it and tag me in it, so I can show the, like, I just do it. Just do it.
Call him out.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
You gotta tell him.
Without doing it.
They do it. I know Mr. Bowtie Fly.
Squeezy on somebody. He was like, "Who taught you that?" I say, "I've been doing it. But if you want to thank the person who has me doing it regularly, this is her cash app, okay?"
No, so I have received cash apps.
Yes.
I have received, I gotta say that. Shout out to the Kegel crew. I have received random cash apps from men and from women who are thanking me for the night before. I wasn't there. I wasn't there, people.
I want you to understand, the Kegel crew need to stop hitting babies on you. You are not the blame for being the baby mama, okay?
Aisha, they done at least I done heard I'm responsible for at least 10 babies, and I can't pay child support. I can't pay child support. And Kentucky just made a law where you can have child support while the baby in the womb. So I definitely can't be a part of that conversation.
Oh, I not knew that. I know for me, the Kegel crew is my safe space. My oldest daughter is 13, and when you first came on, she was like, "Mommy, what are you doing? Why did you stop cooking?" I said, "Cause I gotta do my Kegels." First thing out of her mouth, "What is the Kegel? How can I do it? How do I know if I'm doing it right?" So me being mommy, I was like, "Well, damn, I got 5 kids. I know if I'm doing it right. How can I tell my child what a Kegel is?" So when I described it to her and told her, I did. It's like when you go to the bathroom, I did what Sarah taught us. When you go to the bathroom and you hold your pee. So you have a 13-year-old running around doing Kegels. She said, "Mommy, I can't hold it for 10 seconds, but I can hold it for 5." So you opened up a whole new conversation for us, because I'm glad that my mom put me in every type of program to literally scare me to death about coochie. Not to have sex, but I'm glad I'm able to have an open conversation with my child.
Right.
About coochie.
Right.
Yeah.
I know it's very uncomfortable, and her dad be like, "Why are you talking to her about this?" Because he's a preacher's kid.
And that's
Missionary Baptist.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Missionary Baptist. So it's certain things that they talk about that they don't talk about openly. But for me, my daughter, she said, "Mom, you my safe place." Okay, cool. I want to be that. And the conversations that I hear that she have, like even with the slam book, they still have it. Now it's just more so it's online.
Oh, wow.
I grew up in the era of tag in MySpace.
Right.
I know I'm a baby. I'm only 34. And now they got Google Classroom. So when they're not with the teachers, they're having a separate conversation outside of the lesson about stuff that we know for a fact they're not supposed to be doing. It's like you're 12, 13, and 14-year-olds, y'all doing this? And I have access to her Google Classroom. And the way these young boys talk is like, whoa. I grew up in this, so I could just imagine, and these kids are exposed to more because of the internet. They have TikTok, Instagram, Snap, so it's more sexualized.
And it's more creative.
Yeah. My 13-year-old don't look like a 13-year-old.
Not to get off topic on that, but with these slam books, these kids are very creative. See, you had to really know how to draw. You had to really know how to. Now they can cut
Google
memes and all kinds of stuff. And these things, I'm not condoning this type of stuff, but I can say I have to give credit to where credit is due, and creativity definitely
is one of them.
These children can edit and splice pictures, and they are creative, honey.
Very.
Yeah.
So I encourage you, but what I tell my daughter at the same time, be safe, because mommy not gonna be with you 24/7.
Right.
It's my goal that me and your daddy have taught you the ropes of the world. Make the right decision.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in no mess. That's my only goal. Don't get caught up in nothing that I can't get out of.
Yeah. Well, I think I heard my mom say this, and I don't know who she said it. She said her job is to teach me how to live without her, not with her. And that's something that stuck with me, because I'm the only one of my siblings with children. So I still have conversations that I have to have, and those are hard conversations. But I'm glad that you were able to create that space for you and your daughter to have that conversation, because it's not as common as we would need it to be, or we think it is, that there are some young people who don't get the birds and the bees conversation from a responsible, knowledgeable adult. They're taught it by their peers, and it's not education. It's just, romanticizing it and fantasizing it, and it's not the real of it. Don't get me wrong now. We can romanticize it when it's romantic. We can fantasize it when it's that.
Do that. Because I live in Chicago. The Chicago public schools, this is sex education. This is what it is. But they don't break it down to the sense of, okay, yeah, they tell you the consequences, but they don't break it down of what actually happens when certain boundaries are crossed.
Right.
I grew up, my mom literally put the fear of God in me that said, you get pregnant, I'm going to put you out. She told me with a pap smear, they can open you up this wide and they can reach up to their elbow in you.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, wait a minute. So I was petrified to tell her anything. And now that I'm grown and I have my own kids, it's like, wait a minute, that's not true. Let's go back and rewind.
Yeah.
So I'm unlearning some of the things that I grew up on because I want to have an open dialogue between me and my daughters. I got 3 of them.
Right.
I want them to be able to feel comfortable to come talk to me about anything. My dad has always taught me, I may not like what you're going to tell me, but I will sit and listen to anything you tell me.
Right. And that's important too.
And by my oldest kids, being with their father majority of the time, he tell me, I don't want to have these conversations with her. Whenever you have to. She's 13. The type of school she goes to, she's mixed in with a bunch of high schoolers. And she's not a baby. So she's exposed to more than what we used to. I know you grew up saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. Bless you in your ministry. But this is the reality of what it is. So when she asked her dad, what is a Kegel? He didn't know what to say. He said, that's something you do after you have a baby. Not true. A Kegel is something you can do even before you have kids. It's just strengthening your pelvic muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So how I had to break it down and explain it, he was like, why would you tell her that? Because it's the truth.
Right.
Because
so
it's not
that's where
sexual.
we kind of bump it.
Because it's not sexual.
It's not.
And that even goes back to the bigger picture of, where the decisions were made. Let's say when we were in high school or whatever, right? There were less and less women in the room, less and less women's opinions on how it should be done, less and less women educated in what needs to be done to, help our young women become responsible and also proud and unafraid of being sexual. Because I think there's a huge blurry line there again. Like, you can totally be sexual. Go be sexual. Yes, women power. But then there's a whole bunch of extra emotions that women carry that isn't explained to them, and they don't understand when the men do. Because I tell my kids, I have a 18-year-old trans male child, and then I have a 15-year-old female, and then I have older stepchildren as well that I help raise. And, I tell them all the time, I'm like, stop trying to imagine the Disney princess knight in shining armor coming. They're not mature enough until they're at least 25. So put your education in front. Whatever you're going to do sexually or in a relationship, make sure that you are really clearly thinking it through and that you know what you're doing, because especially, males will play into the, oh yeah, you're the only one. And they even do it as adults now. You're the only one. You're the only person I want to be with. And they will, when you're young, I was totally conned a bunch of times. I was played, because you just believe that they have the same heart as you. And, Disney princess crap growing up, making us think that the knight in shining armor was going to come along and help us get the fence and the 2 cars and the little whatever happy family life. And it's really not, it's not really typical to get all that.
Right.
And I think a lot of females, even myself, thought, oh, if I'm just the perfect wife, or oh, if I'm just sexual enough, or if I do what do I gotta do to get the husband? And I ended up with it. It was a waste of time. But that part. But I think teaching young women to not get caught up in male attention at a young age, because it is frivolous and it doesn't have the same value that you think it might. Being their girlfriend doesn't really crack up to be what you imagine it to be. And I think, pushing more independence on women to find their safe space, to understand their sexuality, and to make those decisions on their own, but also that they don't need the man to define that. And I know my mom was pro-feminist everything, but she never talked to me about any of that. She's just now waking up. She's 69 this year, and she's just waking up to how shitty guys are. She's like, I just literally kept saying that this is just the way they are. Like, that this is just, we just got to take it because it's the way they are. And she's like, actually, I realize we don't have to just take it. And I don't even mean to bash men. I just feel like because they had so much power over the years on even educating women, we just think about our grandmothers and what kind of education they may have had with women's health. None. Zero. You were there to make babies and take care of the home, and you didn't have the same opportunities we have now. So I think that's just where we need to catch up with our kids, with our young females, and even males too, because males don't get the right sexual education either.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And not, the big thing, the cool thing about coochie culture to me is that we can talk about everybody because everybody comes from us. So we don't get to say this is only for women when you come in and you go in. So you don't get we don't get to say, hey, we can't think about or consider, because I have a son. So I have to make sure I create safe spaces for him when he is at an age appropriate time to talk about how he interacts with coochie culture and sex and sex education and sexual health. Those conversations have to be had too, because there aren't, as much as I think young girls and young women are taught to hold their prize, their virginity as a prize. That's not taught to young boys. That's not taught to them. And if you get into the trauma and the experience that a lot of young black boys have, sexual interactions are with older women. And those types of conversations and spaces aren't created for them either. So, the responsible thing for coochie culture is to also identify that safe spaces for black men, for men who have experienced trauma surrounding sexual health, or how, I don't even know what we would call it. I think it's such uncharted territory for me. I don't know what those proper words are, but I know that those spaces don't exist for them, because you don't hear them talk about it a lot. And when we do hear them talk about it, it's done in a way that they joke about it. And you can actually see, I think, it was DeRay Davis. He talked about his first sexual interaction being with an older woman, and he was joking about it, but it was you can tell there was a lot of pain in that interaction. And then you think about, we know what it does to us as women, and if we don't create a space for men to have those conversations, we keep the cycle going, because one person in that cycle isn't knowledgeable about it being a cycle. So I just wanted to say that. Aisha, you had something you wanted to say. I didn't want to cut you off. Okay, so I want Pop Shanny to go ahead and get this last 3 out the way to see who's gonna take it home. Black culture trivia. Let's get it going.
Let's get it poppin'. Okay, what was Beyonce's debut solo album? Beyonce, Dangerously in Love.
Dangerously in Love.
DJ Love.
Whoever said that first, it's on you.
You got it.
Got two more questions. Taraji P. Henson launched a nonprofit organization in 2000.
Domestic violence.
Mental health. Mental health.
Mental health, yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right, one more. Name 3 black moms from TV.
Claire Huxtable, Evans, and who else? I don't even know. George and Wheezy.
Wheezy. Yes.
There we go. You took it home.
She said Florida Evans. Yes, she said Florida. Yes, that's Pompano. Florida Evans. Shout out Esther Rowe.
I learned more about her because of you.
Yeah, Esther
I
Rowe.
just realized my mic was off. I'm over here answering.
Oh man.
Somebody give me my points.
So Aisha.
I appreciate y'all. That was fun.
No
I
problem.
have to get that game and play that.
Yes. Shoot me a DM.
That was fun.
Thank you.
In the chat. Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. This was fun. If y'all ever need a Black Culture Trivia host, I'm your girl.
Yes.
Let me know. I could hang up questions to however y'all need. This was our woman edition questions. As y'all see, all the questions were centered around women. So.
Yes.
Can you drop it on the YouTube, on Sarika's YouTube page? Because there were people asking how could they get the game there too.
Yes, thank you. I think I was trying to say, but I was on mute. Thank you.
And I got the card, so we're gonna actually play part of Sit with Sarika. We're gonna start making this a continuous thing with Sit with Sarika, and you know, I'm appreciative, and I so much about the Kegel crew is about us connecting. So I want to make sure all of us connect with each other. If you don't know everybody that's on here, please connect. And Annette was not going to be able to make it, but I do want to play that video interview that she did, a clip that she did a podcast interview with us, and it's on YouTube, Spotify, and Buzzsport. So we're going to just play a clip here right quick.
Give me 40 Kegel to the beat.
The Kegels. That was the Kegel video to show you guys where the young lady got the actual inspiration. You don't have it? 2 videos. We played one? Got it. Okay, that's on me. So I'll share it on our TikTok and all the other platforms, but it was definitely a great interview. I want you guys to check it out. But I want to make sure I thank you ladies for having this conversation, joining me. This isn't the last time that we will do this, and I'm gonna get you, bro, because I'm looking at my name with the C in front of the H. I'm looking at it. I had to say it right here because we keep it real. I was looking at Sriracha. That said Sriracha. That exactly said Sriracha. They say it all the time, Crazy T, Sriracha, and I be looking around like, well, who y'all talking to? I am a little spicy, but not that. Sarika, it is Sarika. Thank you guys for joining. Aisha, I want to go down the line from Aisha to Angie to Dorney, Pop Shanny, and then Crazy T taking us out. Please, if you have anything you want to share, please take a moment to share. Aisha?
Oh, wow. Well, it's Women's History Month, and years ago, I had a tea that I called She Tea under another tea company. But I started this, I came up with this quote. It says, "She starts the revolution," so I thought it was very apropos to wear this t-shirt today. There are lots of women who wear the shirt instead of me putting my name there, I put me, so that any woman who wore the shirt would know that you were the person who starts the revolution, because it starts right up in here in this womb, because the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. So I'm so grateful that you invited me to join this conversation with the infamous Kegel crew. Women, it was so nice to meet all of you and put some names to faces. My name's Aisha Aliande. You can find me on
What happened? Why? Oh, because it was scheduled to 9 and it clicked them out right at 9. Oh my gosh. Y'all, listen, they coming back. They coming back. We're going to get them back. Aisha, Angie B. Dope, Pop Shanny. I'm going to make sure you guys get all of their information. And I appreciate y'all working with us, because this was a extended edition of the Bottom Up Podcast, and it is in celebration of Women's History Month. So by all means, you will get all of the contact information and ways to connect with the ladies that were on this podcast tonight. Talking about coochie culture. It is a serious conversation as much as it is a fun thing that we do with the Kegel crew. Y'all shirts coming. Just be prepared. Have your little coins and send them my way. I'm appreciate all of them. The Kegel crew shirts about to be released. And I want to make sure I give shout out to my bro for always coming through and making me look good on this screen. You know, live events TV. And thank y'all, you know, for rocking with us, the Bottom Up Podcast, Kegel crew. Yes, if y'all jumping in, that's on me. My apologies. Charge it to my head, not my heart. We're going to get this thing wrapped up, and on the way out, we're going to play a little music for y'all. Can we get the other song? Play the other song. And this is just an exclusive we share with y'all from Sophia for our upcoming album, with me doing some spoken word poetry on it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Bottom Up Podcast with the Kegel crew. I'm Serica. Y'all stay tuned. We got more coming.
That we could be white, labeled, franchise. Hell, baby, we're brand new to this side of love. That free love. That you're not my property, I don't own you type. Cause I'm honored to know you. To be in your presence is a gift, because you don't owe me anything. And I don't owe you either. But I thank you for your time. I really want you to be my person.
I am a lover. Come and discover. Foxes and moles and birds and nests. When we in our zone, yeah, we both can rest. Gonna rest. Joy and pain. Sunshine and rain. Joy and pain. Sunshine. And since it's gonna rain, we gon' be alright. Chillin', enjoy the way I grew in pain. I wanna laugh at all, it's just a game. Let's play, let's stay, let's get high. All up in the stuff.